Okay, so.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Keeping It Real Estate with Gavin. And good morning, Nici.
Good morning, Gavin. I just love the name of this show. It makes me smile every time you say it, and you're just so perfect for this.
Well, thanks. We got to keep it real all the time, right?
Yes,
There's
I
so many
love it.
ways we need and should keep it real.
Yes.
But today we're talking about real estate, and I'm going to introduce to you something that we're going to be doing regularly on the show, which is the monthly market update.
Okay.
And you might say, what the heck is a monthly
am.
market update, right?
Yeah.
So basically what I want to do is break down major stats of what's going on in the market. We're going to focus on the Glow region, Genesee, Livingston, Orleans, and Wyoming counties.
Okay.
I'll touch on Erie and Monroe counties as well to give us some context. But basically, I'm going to look at last month's stats, May 2024, last year, versus May 2025 of last month. So year over year, comparing what happened last year in May to what happened this year in May. On data points like how many new listings, how many closed sales, how many days did it take for a home to be taken off the market, days on the market.
Okay.
The average sales price of a home and the percent of the list price that the seller got. And we're going to break all those things down. But basically what I'm doing, so we're in June now, but it takes us about a month to get the data from last month.
Right, and then this coming up
and
will
I
come out
want
in July.
to, yes, and,
Okay.
and I want to frame it in the context of what happened this time last year and what's happening now.
Now, is this something you as a real estate agent make sure to pay attention to?
Absolutely.
Of course, going through and going forward.
Absolutely.
And it
We're always
helps. Okay.
monitoring the market.
Okay.
Day to day, month over month, year over year. There's so many ways to splice and dice this data.
Okay.
But what I think is really helpful to most people is a monthly market update that tells us what we did in the last month and what was going on last year to put into context what's going on now.
Nope, I like this. Okay, I'm kind of excited.
Easy way to measure it, right?
I'm interested,
Right.
actually,
And
as
if-
somebody sitting on the other side of the world of real estate, to kind of know this, because you had mentioned, before, we're living in this bubble here in this area.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are desperately trying to find a home. We don't have a lot of inventory.
Correct.
But I'm curious because I know, like, at one point, houses were going astronomically priced. And then at one point, I know throughout the rest of the country, they're starting to kind of balance out a little bit between buyer seller.
Yep.
But here in our little area, I'm anxious to hear how we're so special.
We're a
What's
little
going
different.
on here? Yeah.
We're a little different. And behind the numbers, folks, there's always stories.
Yeah.
So it's how we interpret that. And so I'll tell you what my interpretation is. I'm going to keep it real for you.
Good.
And you might have a different agent that has a different opinion, or you might have a buyer or seller, an investor that sees it differently. But that's what we do. We have conversations. We present the data, and then we figure out what it means to you and what your real estate goals are.
Okay.
Right?
Is this something that me as a buyer and a seller would be interested in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And this is something that when I do a buyer and seller consultation, I'm always giving you a little market snapshot.
Okay.
Here's what's going on now, and here's what it means to you. And that's a different situation based on what your goals are in real estate.
Perfect.
But let's get started because we'll be doing this regularly, and
Yeah.
we welcome your questions, guys. That would be great. There's so many different data points, but these are the ones I focus on. And if you follow me on social media, I update this once a month.
Okay.
And I put it out there. And I also, if you're on my email list, I send this out monthly as well.
Oh, perfect.
So a lot of my fans and clients and colleagues, they subscribe to me and they get this information. And then if they have follow-up questions, they call me and we have a discussion.
Perfect. I'm excited. Let's get into it.
So let's talk about Genesee County. So what I'm looking at here is I'm comparing Genesee County stats from May of 2024
Okay.
compared to May 2025, just this last month. So in 2024 in May, we had 26 new listings. In May of 2025, we had 21. So it makes sense, right? We keep talking about inventory being low, so we had a little bit less activity year over year this time last year. So
Okay.
we had 26 last year, we have 21 now in May. We had closed sales went up just a touch. So in May of 2024, there were 18 homes that closed, and in May of 2025, we had 19.
Okay.
So about the same,
Yeah.
right? So inventory down a little bit. And these aren't huge numbers in comparison to Erie and Monroe County, where they have 800 new listings, right? But we're talking about 26 versus 21. We're talking about 18 closings versus 19 this year. And average days on the market, this is something to pay attention to.
Okay.
In May of 2024, we had 16 days on the market.
That was on average.
Meaning that the property, yes, on average, could be more, could be less.
Okay.
That the property went online, it was marketed, and it took them 16 days to get an offer accepted, okay? That increased a lot month over month, and this is a little bit of an anomaly, so don't panic, people. The days on the market, May 2024 versus May 2025, and May of 2025 was almost 75 days.
Wow, that's a high jump.
It's a high jump. Now, that's average, folks. It doesn't mean that all houses were sitting there, because we'd have a much different story right now. Houses are selling really quickly here. But what might that be? We have such low numbers, so the average gets kicked up pretty quickly. And what I feel that was a correction, that people were still overpricing. Sellers were overpricing. They were looking at prices from the year previously and think, okay, it's spring market. This is how it is, and I'm going to price here because my cousin Sally last year down the street did this. Well, we saw a lot of price reductions, and we kind of had a delayed response to what would be typically a spring market in April. It kind of didn't really kick off until May, June, right? So don't panic, but that says that, and we know that there were a lot of price reductions. The average sales price, though, here's where everyone should be, put some context here. In May of 2004, the average sales price in Genesee County was $230,000 and change, okay? $230,000. In May of 2025, the average sale price was almost $240,000. So the price went up.
Yeah, not that much though.
No,
it didn't go up
but
like crazy.
that's great. You can usually expect that year over year, your appreciation or the sales price is going to go up depending on your maintenance of the property, 2 to 5%. So that's a nice little climb there.
Yeah.
So prices are still steady and good, and that's the average, right? And the percent of the list price received by the seller in May of 2024 was 102.6%, whereas in May 2025 it was 104.7%. You're like, what's that mean? Well, you know how we talk about how there's a list price and homes are typically selling over list price still? Mm-hmm. That's what that is. So in May of 2024, sellers were getting over 100% of their list price.
Oh, wow.
102. In May of 2025, they were getting even more. On average, they were getting 104.7% of their list price.
Wow.
Year over year. Yep. So, despite longer market times, prices and seller leverage remain really strong.
Yeah, wow. We are not, okay.
Right?
Listen, Genesee County.
Steady market, right? So that's Genesee County. Year over year, May 2024 versus what we just saw in May of 2025.
Okay.
Let's get into other areas of the Glow region. Let's go right down the alphabet. Livingston County. In May of 2024, we had 28 new listings. In May of 2025, we had 35. A little bit of a bump, right?
Yeah.
Pending sales in 2024, in Livingston County, we had 19. In May of 2025, we had 30.
Oh, wow. That's almost everything.
Yep. So that jumped a bit, right? Average sales price in May of 2024 in Livingston County was $263 and change. Prices went down a little bit. In May of 2025 in Livingston County, the average sales price was $225 and change.
Oh, wow.
So it went down a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, I also said that the market in the spring didn't kind of kick off the way we wanted it to.
Okay.
So there's things there. Now, the percent of the list price that those sellers received, in May of 2024, sellers were getting about 99% of their list price. Buyers were tugging down a little bit on that. But in May of 2025, they got over 100% of their list price. Okay. On average, they got 103.7%.
Wow.
So see how it wobbles a little bit depending on these data points.
Yeah, this is interesting. I like this.
Isn't this cool?
Yeah.
So overall, what we need to know about Livingston County is that there's more listings and strong buyer demand despite the pricing adjustment.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
I like that.
So that's the flavor. So let's go over to Orleans County. So in May of 2024, this is where there's some real changes in Orleans County, which is exciting to me because I've always loved Orleans County's architecture. There's some really beautiful homes up there. They need some love, and it's a pretty remote area, so I think it often gets overlooked. But this is how interesting this is. So in Orleans County, in May of 2024, there were only 3 closed sales.
3?
Yep. People weren't putting their homes on the market. There wasn't much to do there,
Wow.
right? But in May of 2025, there were 13 closed sales, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so more movement. The average sales price in May of 2024 in Orleans County was $103,000 and change.
Okay.
Okay. So it just speaks to like what maybe they were fixer-uppers, maybe they were rental properties, et cetera. But the average sales price of homes in May of 2025 in Orleans County was over $200,000.
Wow, big jump.
That's a big jump.
That's more than double.
Right? So again, we'd have to dive deeper into, well, what were the types of homes and what, things like that. But, suffice it to say, Orleans County, the percentage of the list price received in 2024 in May was about 86%, 86.6%. But in May of 2025, it jumped to 95.9%.
Wow.
So good. All good things for Orleans County. A major jump in the market is showing confidence in pricing. So, I think that's a great opportunity for buyers and sellers out there if you want to be in Orleans County.
Okay.
So that's great.
I like that. All right.
Wyoming County, last of the Glow region. In May of 2024, there were new listings were about 23. In May of 2025, we jumped to about 38.
Wow.
People were getting ready for the spring market down in Wyoming County, so that's
Okay.
great. Closed sales year over year, May 2024 in Wyoming County, there were 13 closed sales. There were 12 in May 2025, so about the same.
Wow.
Okay. Days on the market stayed about the same too. In May of 2025, it was about 45 days. In May of 2024, it was 45. In May of 2025, it was 47.
Oh,
so about the same.
yeah.
It's a wash. Average sales price, though. So again, what types of homes were for sale? The average sales price in May of 2024 in Wyoming County was about $198,000.
Okay.
And in May of 2025, it was $126,000.
Wow, jump down.
Yeah, so it just depends. What was for sale? There was a lot more inventory. So you got to really drill into the numbers, but those are the averages. So inventory was up, but pricing and competitive softened a bit in Wyoming County.
Okay.
And so again, as I mentioned, I feel that we lagged on a spring market a little bit and people weren't quite ready. So again, we always drill down into those specific areas to see what it means to you as a buyer or seller in that specific county so I can get the story. But those are the averages.
So, and just so I'm clear, everything that you just went over, we're talking just residential, not business owned.
Right. I'm not talking about commercial. This is
Perfect.
residential. Yeah. Thanks for that. Yep.
Nope.
So it could be multifamily homes. It could be single family homes.
Okay.
It could be mobile homes. It could be a lot of different things going on.
All right.
So that's why we get more granular when we do a consultation.
Perfect.
What I like to do is frame the Glow region, of course, with our metro markets and talk about the context there because it's very different. And that's why Glow region's sort of that sweet spot in the middle.
And it's so wild because they're literally a stone's throw away. When
That's right.
We're going to get into the other two counties that you're going to jump into. It's wild, the difference.
Totally wild. So Monroe County, I think it's still number one, if not a top 3 market in the country still, okay?
Really?
And you're still seeing a lot of activity, a lot of buyer demand, a lot of buyer competitiveness, homes going $100,000 over asking, you name it. But here's what we're going to talk about with Monroe County. So in May of 2024, new listings were 82 in all of Monroe County,
Okay.
okay? And in May of 2025, they went to 90. So about the same.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
A little bit more, but not much. In May of 2024, there were 61 closed sales.
Okay, that's pretty good.
In May of 2025, there were 64.
Same.
It's still really
Yeah.
tight, right? Days on the market, this is wild, folks. In May of 2024, 10 days.
Stop.
In May of 2025, 12 days.
Stop. Oh, my
It's
goodness. They are
still
staying
tough. They
stuck.
are
Yeah.
solid, right? Average sales price, pay attention. In Monroe County, in May of 2024, the average sales price was $232,000 and change.
Okay.
In May of 2025, it was $248 and change.
Wow.
Okay? So consistent demand and price growth equals a steady, competitive market in Monroe County.
And that's a good thing, right? Like,
Sure.
that's
It is. Sellers
You
are
say
loving
it kinda
that.
like, ooh.
Sellers are loving that, and that's great for sellers. Buyers, I see that they're getting really frustrated. They're missing out.
100%.
I had a message from a colleague just the other night who said, "We keep losing Do you have anything coming up? And that's where I say expand your search. If you keep going and putting your hand in the blender, you're going to get cut.
Yeah.
If you keep going to where you know it's a hotbed of activity for buyers and a lot of competition, and you just keep losing, I know how frustrating that is. You're suffering from buyer exhaustion, but maybe you want to entertain expanding your search a bit then and include the Glow region.
Yeah, no, I like this. Okay.
Okay, Erie County. Let's wrap it up. Erie County monthly market update year over year, May 2024. There were 936 listings. Bigger numbers, right? Vastly bigger numbers, right? Okay.
Okay. Yes, my mouth is kind of like.
Right. We're talking like 26 and 21 out here, but.
Yeah, I was not expecting hundreds.
Yes. And so new listings in May of 2025, 938. About the same. Okay. And again, this includes all different types of residential properties at all levels.
That's just crazy.
Closed sales in May of 2024 were 504. In May of 2025, they were 410. It went down a bit.
Yeah.
Closed sales. You can get under contract, but did they close? Right? Days on the market, pretty steady. May 2024 in Erie County, 19 days on the market. And then in May of 2025, Erie County, 20.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm even surprised at that number being so low. I would expect that to be higher.
Yeah, days on the market. You know, like I said, at one point, Rochester and Buffalo were number 1 and number 2, respectively, in the country.
Yeah.
You know, average sales price in Erie County, May of 2024, was $316,000 in May of 2024. In May of 2025, it went up to $345,000 and change. Okay, so less sales, but higher prices.
Yeah.
And buyers still compete in a very tight inventory market in Erie County. Right?
That's crazy.
So if you want to break this down further, what these numbers mean to you and what your real estate goals are, whether you're looking to list, you're looking to purchase your next home, you're investing, give me a buzz and we'll break it down even further. We can break it down by neighborhood. This is just an overall monthly market update, a snapshot, if you will, year over year, month to month,
I
to
like it.
understand what's going on in the market.
Yeah.
And your real estate professional is always looking at the data day by day, week by week, but I like to present it this way because I think it's most understandable and palatable to the public.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate you kind of breaking it down in the beginning for us to grasp what we were about to jump into. And of course, this is something we will do
every month.
Once a month, yes.
You got it.
And I'm actually really looking forward to next month to hear that. And it's kind of fun because I want to tell everybody, like, oh my goodness, did you know?
Yeah. And then we can break it down further at some point. We might say, okay, let's look at the stats of June 1st, 2025, and let's look at it of September 1st, 2025. We don't have to do the year over year. We
But
can
even
also
just
say,
a couple months.
Here's what happened in the beginning of the summer. Here's what happening at the end of summer. And I
Yeah.
think that'll be interesting too. So we'll do that as well.
And I will like when we get into your winter 2 months
You
to
got
be
it.
able to compare summer to winter
You got
and how
it.
the importance of, No, I'm excited.
Because
I like
as
that.
we know, there's a seasonality to our market
Absolutely.
here, more or less. But still low inventory, still opportunities are out there, folks. You just have to know what this information means to you, and we're here to unpack it and make it make sense to you.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you doing that. That was actually incredibly interesting, and I'm looking forward to that every month. And of course, as always, thank you so much, Miss Gavin, for keeping it real.
Absolutely. Got to keep it real. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful day. And yes, we'll be back next Saturday.